Huge win for the Liberty in game one of their series with the Phoenix Mercury. They win 76-69 on Sunday out in Phoenix, and he did that in overtime. Big win there. We're giving you a special playoff edition, post-game edition of Liberty Lately. So joining me is the great women's sports reporter for the New York Post, Madeline Kenney, joins me from Phoenix after the game. Maddie, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Look, Liberty doing good. They got a game one win. We talked about this the other day on Liberty Lately. They needed to win on the road. They were able to execute just that. This was not the most beautiful brand of basketball that we saw in this game. A bit sloppy at times, but what did you like about the Liberty being able to grit out this win in overtime? What went well for them in OT for them to pull this off?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Liberty today was defensively. They looked a lot better than what they've looked like in the past. And I think in overtime specifically, we saw them kind of use that playoff experience and focus on that late game execution that sometimes has been a problem this season. And I talked to Natasha Cloud about that after the game, and she said that like all those times that her and I had talked about execution being a problem, she kept saying like this is a learning moment. It's gonna pay off in the long run. It paid off tonight. And like that was part of the reason why you saw them win today. It was the way that they went about their business in overtime. They played what the game was giving them. They were being smart with the ball, and they ended up like outscoring the Mercury 11-4, I believe it was, in overtime.
Yeah, they did. And they started off that OT with an 8-0 run. That was huge. You just mentioned Natasha Cloud. She was big time in this game, led the team with 23 points. What did you make of her performance? Because it's one thing, as you just mentioned, she's talked to you about it and to talk the talk, but she walked the walk literally in this game and led her team with that scoring performance. We always know scoring is a bonus with Tosh. We know what she brings defensively, but how big was she here in this game one?
Oh my gosh, she was pivotal, pivotal. I don't know if you win that game without the way that Natasha Cloud played on both ends of the floor. I mean, she kind of set the tone early that she was going to be aggressive and score when the defense was giving it to her. I mean, look, like I think it was the second or it was early in the first quarter. I'll say this: she calls for the screen from JJ. She takes one dribble to the right. Defense is miles away, like their closest defender. So she just pulls up and cashes in a three. And I think that type of confidence that she has, she really took advantage of it. I think the back and forth between her and Kalia Copper, like this is going to be a fun battle to watch as the series continues because they're both just so demonstrative in their celebrations, and they're also really good friends. Like I asked Cloud about it, and she said that all the trash talking that they do, it's one thing to do it on the court. It makes it for a better entertainment product for us as fans and viewers of the game. But they know at the end of the day that it's not personal. It's just this is their jobs. And so I think that, she was so important to this team in this win. And I think the way that she also set the tone being aggressive in overtime. She had that big three early on. And so, I think this is the type of blueprint that you need from Tosh to move forward. You don't necessarily need her to score 23 points, but she's the type of player that's going to do what needs to be done to win. And tonight, it was 23 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals. I mean, can't ask for a better performance from Natasha Cloud.
No, you can't. She was filling up the stat sheet there, did what she needed to do to help her team get this game one win as Liberty lead the series 1-0, with the series coming back to Barclays Center on Wednesday. Got to talk about Breanna Stewart in this one too, Maddie. She had 18 points. She hurt her knee and then left in overtime. We saw her not return. She had a huge and one bucket, and she hurt her knee. Big concern for the Liberty because she came out the game and didn't come back in. What are you hearing about the latest on Breanna Stewart's knee and her availability for game two?
The Liberty did not have an immediate update on Breanna Stewart after the game, but obviously there was a lot of concern. Even the vibes during the post-game press conference, I mean, it wasn't celebration and happiness. There was a clear seriousness and stoicness upon JJ, Sabrina, and Sandy sitting at the podium because I think they are really concerned. And I think the camera panned at one point to Stewie kind of being teary-eyed on the bench. And when I talked to Cloud after the game too, she kind of said too, we don't know. We don't know what's wrong. Like we don't know if how serious it is or if it's serious at all. But at the same time, you care about Stewie as a player and as a person. She's a person first, basketball player second. And At the end of the day, they just hope that, she's okay. And next man up mentality if, there there needs to be a change at some point,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll hopefully
depending on
have
what it is.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have more information on that in the coming days. And obviously, hopefully that Stewie is okay. All right, so we move to game two. You and I talked about the importance of this game one the other day. Liberty take care of business out in Phoenix. Now the series shifts back to Brooklyn. And, we had we got to bring Maddie home, and hopefully Maddie can stay home. So now Maddie will be back in Brooklyn. But when you look at game two on Wednesday night at the Barclays Center, Maddie, what are the keys to the Liberty closing this series out? We always know that closing out a series is the toughest thing you can do in those games. So what do they have to do better than they even did tonight in game one to close the series out in game two?
Okay, well, first off, take advantage of the fact that you're home. Take advantage of, and maybe even use the fact that game three between would be 2 days after. So you have a 1 day to travel cross country to go to Phoenix to play them the next day. Use that as motivation to just take care of business on Wednesday. But the biggest thing that they need to control better is taking care of the ball. You can't have 21 turnovers. That's insane. They out rebounded the Mercury. I have the box score right here. They out rebounded them 48-31, and yet they took 5 fewer field goals, and it was all those turnovers. The game should not have been that close when you have that big of a margin. And so I think that, this was a good feel out game for them. I think defensively they set the right precedent for moving forward. And I think, they kind of rattled the Mercury a little bit by winning game one. And so it'll be interesting to see how Phoenix responds. But I think that the Liberty, they really need to do their best to, one, take this win and use it as momentum moving forward. Two, once we figure out what's going on with Stewie, whether she'll play or not, to not allow that to be a factor in just because that can have an impact, emotionally and mentally on a team when you lose a franchise player like that. Even seeing a player go like down like that in a game, it can kind of sway things, but they did a really good job at locking in. And the other thing I'll say is that execution is key. They got to execute at a high level. They did not execute at a high level tonight. They still stole the win, but I can't imagine that Phoenix is going to go home and be okay with the fact that they let this one slip at home. They're going to be coming out, for blood, so to speak, in game two.
Yeah, they're going to do that. And it was interesting. You and I talked the other day on the playoff preview about the keys to the game, and you said rebounding, which the Liberty did a fantastic job on the boards in this game. And I talked about the fact they need to take care of the ball. They did not do that. So that's something, as you just mentioned, they still need to clean up. And we'll see if they can do that in game two. All right, everybody. Maddie is coming home. We just need her to stay home. She's going to be flying back to the New York metro area. Liberty with a big win in game one over the Phoenix Mercury. And we'll see if they can get it in game two. Maddie, I will see you for game two at the Barclays Center on Wednesday night.